What's up, everybody? Welcome to Discourse and Chill. I'm Ian.
And I'm your girl, Reese.
Today, we are going to talk about modern love. Reese and I have been watching it on Amazon Prime, and no, Amazon Prime is not sponsoring this video, but if y'all want to, holla at your boy or your girl, either one. So, we just wanted to do a recap of season one, talk about the episodes. This all came from one of the episodes that I saw, and I had called Reese and I was like, "Yo, you got to watch this." So I was like, "Let's just watch the whole season, do a recap, and see how it goes." So we're gonna see how it goes.
Here we are. But here we are.
Yeah.
I was
So
like, you
Reese,
want to do
like,
what? All right.
what did you think of the series? Like, what did you think of season one as a whole?
Overall it was okay. I would give it
Yeah.
maybe a B plus.
Okay.
So it wasn't bad at
Yeah.
all. I mean, it wouldn't have been something that I would have thought to click on had you not called me. I
Mm-hmm.
think the first episode kind of pulled me in, and then I kept watching. There was a couple episodes I was like, "What am I watching? Like, why am I doing this?" But overall, I'd give it a B plus ish.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't bad, and of course, stories of love. Always pull at my heartstrings. So yeah, I don't think it was a bad season or bad series. There's actually a season 2 that I think I'll tune into to see how that goes. But yeah, I give it a B. What about you?
Yeah, same. I usually don't like series that have different storylines for every episode. I like some
Right.
continuity. I like plot development. I
Hmm.
like the thing to, grow as we're watching it. Um,
Right.
so that was a little different, but I felt like they did a really good job of starting a story and bringing it to a conclusion that you were happy with, regardless of the
Yeah.
outcome of the episode. Like you got all the information you needed or wanted from each episode. So I appreciate that.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So yeah, that I would say that was good. It would everything like began and concluded. It wasn't like, well, what happens next? So they definitely gave
Yeah,
you like, the end all be all. So I can agree with that part. As far
absolutely.
as them, doing like full thought out episodes.
Mm-hmm.
We'll give them a for that part.
Yeah, they definitely get an A for that part, A for that bar. So I think we should just go episode by episode,
Okay.
talk about it, give away a little bit of the plot. We won't give away the whole thing. Talk about some of the things that we liked about it, some of the things we didn't like, and just go from there. All right.
Okay, so I'm gonna be full spoiler alert because what you mean? We're gonna talk about it. Like we're gonna talk about it. So, listen, chillers, if you are now intrigued about modern love, log off now. Go watch it, and then come back and watch this video because I'm talking. So I'm gonna say it all.
You heard it here first, folks. She's talking, we talking. So there will be spoilers in this. But yeah, let's get into it. So season one, episode one, uh, is called "When the Doorman Is Your Main Man." Reese, what did you think about this episode?
So at first, I thought the doorman was a little creepy. I was like, "Who is this guy? Like, is he secretly like infatuated with her, or like what's
Mm-hmm.
going on?" I do think that it was a little weird. Every time she brought home a guy, like first she didn't want to bring guys home because her doorman. She's like, "Kiss me now
Yeah.
before we get to the door,"
Yeah.
like kiss me now before we get to the door. And it was like every guy he was like, "That's not him. He's not the one.
Mm-hmm.
He won't call you
Yeah.
back. He won't be here." Like I mean, he literally was telling her like that he gonna leave you high and dry. He ain't gonna call
Yeah.
you. Like it was really, I was like, dang, like what is going on? Like is he like a sniper? Like does he secretly follow these guys home and like snuff them off or something? And then you do find out
Snuff
that
them
he was
off.
right. He was ex-military though, and was he like Russian or Romanian or something?
I don't know. They didn't really
I don't know.
uh they didn't give you any specifics. They just kind of implied it the entire episode.
Yeah, yeah. So
Hmm.
he was a former sniper for some foreign military,
Well, we don't know that
and
for sure. It just was like insinuated, right? Because
no, he
you can
said
not. Yeah, but
He
he just
did.
told
He
that
said
one
he was a
guy.
sniper.
Yeah, but I think it was just he said that thing. What did he say? He's like, it's different when you have a man in your sights or like that. He never said he was a sniper, but I think he just like implied it to scare the guy.
No, I think he said he was a sniper.
Okay.
I think he said he was a sniper. Because where did I get that from? Like,
Because it was implied. It was implied the whole show, and even there was a
mm,
scene where the guy passes him, and he does this whole thing like, he like looks at him, and
yeah,
so I think it's just like implied over and over again that he was military, and
he said he was a sniper.
okay.
That's what I heard. Well, that's what I heard. Now again, maybe it was me falling in intuition and the implication. I was like, yeah, he a sniper.
But yeah, so a little bit about this episode. So basically, it's a woman. She lives in this upscale building in New York. She brings home different men, and the doorman kind of like rates them immediately. And the
Hmm.
storyline or the plot is, during this time she gets pregnant. The man
Hmm.
who the guy was like, he ain't it, gets her pregnant,
Right.
and then that was the part of the best, well, not the best part, but the most the part of this episode that really got me is when she told him and he like was outside hyperventilating, and then she was like, you don't have to do anything, and he was like, okay.
Yeah. He was real
Like
like she's
quickly.
like, you want right. He was like, she was like, you want to go over names? He's like, no, you can do that. You got it. Like
Yeah, like
he
he
was
was like, I'm
so okay.
out.
Right. He said, I don't have to do nothing. Say less. Let's say less. He was also foreign too, though. Like, he had a foreign accent as well.
Hmm. I think so. But yeah, it was really abrupt and like very serious when he was like,
Hmm.
"Nope, I'm good, I'm out." You know,
Yep. Yep.
and I liked it because it wasn't the uh, the narrative is different because I always feel like it's the black guy who's playing it as that kind of character, but it was like this. Bougie white dude from the Upper East Side, and he the same. You know what I mean? Like he's him, and I'm like, oh,
Right.
I
Right.
like this part. I'm glad it's him.
A mess. I think
Yeah,
that also in that I do like how the doorman like really took care of her. So,
yeah, for
the
sure.
building that she stayed in was in her family for, however many years, and she just happened to be the one that ended up there. And he had been her doorman forever. So he literally pretty
Right.
much like watched her and her family grow. Um
Hmm.
I do like the security aspect of him because he was kind of like a protector almost,
Yeah.
he was good giving advice, and everything that he said was gonna happen. Like he didn't like
Yeah.
lead her astray or try to, give her like false hope or anything. He was
Hmm.
like, he's not gonna call you back. He's not the one. Even when she
Yeah.
went down to say she was pregnant, she cried, she cried in his arms. Like, even then he was like, okay, it's what we gonna do. So he
Yeah.
was super, super supportive. Um, but he didn't, he didn't have no emotion. He was old in. He was like dead inside. He didn't have compassion. He didn't know how to say it. He was just like, yeah, you
He had
wasting your time.
compassion. He had compassion. He just
In the
didn't show
end,
it the way that
yeah,
most people show it. Like he was definitely a protector, a provider.
yes,
Like he was someone
mhm,
who had her back.
yeah,
And he just didn't have any extra, Like he consoled
yeah,
her
yeah,
silently with his arms around. Like he wasn't here
right,
like, it's gonna be okay. Like he wasn't saying none of that shit. He
yeah,
was just like,
yeah.
it takes a
All
village.
right. You
You
need
got
me
a
to hold you today?
village.
All right, I'll hold you.
Exactly. Like he was like, it's gonna rain today. And it rained,
Right,
like
right. A mess. Yeah, a whole
yeah.
mess. And
So
I
I
do
think
like the relationship. Go ahead.
you go ahead, you go ahead.
I like the relationship that developed between him and her daughter. He was
Yeah,
almost
for
like a
sure.
granddad.
Hmm.
Like he definitely like did babysitting and kept her and like looked after the little girl too. So I definitely
Hmm.
like they were almost like best friends. Like this little girl
Yeah.
like yeah, that's my best friend. Like I think that was really cute too. So
Hmm.
even in his toughness, you did see like a soft side when it came down to his interaction with her kid, and even also with her too. He was
With her
really
too.
soft with her,
Yeah.
even
Hmm.
though his words were like A plus B. is C. And he ain't do none of that, he ain't do none of that middle. It's black and white. He ain't had no gray.
Yeah, he was straightforward. He's my kind of guy. Like him and I would be friends for sure.
Yeah, okay.
But I did like how it all came together at the end when
Yeah,
uh he met the new guy,
yeah,
and he let her know. He was like, look, I never looked at them, I always looked at you. And I was like,
yeah,
facts,
yeah,
facts. Like it's so true, because it's always about how you are. Like I would say my family is like that. Like it's never about
yeah,
the girl. It's about like how I am interacting with her. Like, and I'm
yeah,
sure like it's probably like with that, it's like that with you as well. When you see me with somebody,
yeah.
it's not about her. It's like, how am I with her?
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
hmm
So that was a good
So
reveal in the end.
yeah, for sure, for
Yeah, it was a
sure.
good reveal in it. And she came home with Tyrone. So
She did come home with Tyrone.
yep.
I was like, look at this.
Because I was like, oh, I said, oh, he about to give Tyrone a hard time. But nope, he welcomed him right on in. But I think he
Yeah,
said
he
don't
was
push
like,
it or something. But yeah,
yeah.
he welcomed Tyrone. Yeah, he welcomed Tyrone right on in.
hmm He did. So that was a good one. All right, episode 2. This is the
hmm
episode that made me call Reese, because there's a line in this episode that I thought was so like brilliant and also disrespectful as fuck. But a little backstory: it's boy meets girl, they fall in love, they have a hard time, they go their separate ways, and they come back together at the end. We'll get into some more of the juicy details. But Reese, what'd you think about it?
So this episode was pretty good. I like that he took his hurt and made it a business. He ended up being like a CEO of like a dating site.
hmm
This girl hurt him. First off, they met at like an interview. So he had a job interview that he didn't go to because like when he saw her, for him it was like love at first sight. So he didn't go to the
Yes.
interview. He was like, I'm taking you to lunch, like, let this be whatever. So
hmm
he foregoed a job opportunity because he was like, yeah, I'd rather take you to lunch.
Yeah.
They hit it off, became a couple, that whole thing. Um, then she did some real like grimy stuff. Like
Say it. Say
she bumped into one of her exes and they bumped into each other. Like she bumped into an ex and started bumping. I was like, oh Lord. So then she comes home to tell him. I thought I saw that. She did come home to tell him, and this is the line that Ian prompted a phone call.
Listen, she said, I saw him and I let him relive the past. And I was like, oh my God. I couldn't hear it, Reese. Reese,
Right.
a girl couldn't tell me that. Like, and so he packed up his shit so fast and left. And
So
I was like,
fast.
that's the only thing he could do.
Yeah.
Because, and then she said, it lasted 10 seconds and then I stopped. I'm like, girl, you better get an orgasm. You gonna risk it all for 10 seconds? No,
Right.
you can't risk it all for 10 seconds. You gotta get it all. He gotta go down. You gotta go down. Y'all gotta
A whole mess. You need
y'all
to be
gotta
two,
do
three rounds.
everything.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
A whole mess.
Yeah, y'all
But
need to
yeah.
go to the store, get Gatorade, and come back and go at it again. That's when you come home and tell me after that, because it needs to be worth it. Goddamn
Okay. Yeah, no.
it.
Oh yeah, he left. Like he left. He was
Yeah,
done.
look,
Done,
he was
son.
done,
But
done.
but in that I kind of agree though. Like you saying to me like you just bumped into somebody randomly. Like they weren't even having problems.
They
Like
weren't having problems.
they weren't even having problems. Like she bumped into somebody who she used to date who was married and he's not married anymore. So like he wanted that old thing back and she was like, okay. And then got in the middle of the act and was like, oh wait, I got somebody. And then ran home and told somebody who was like, well, I'm out. A
Yeah,
mess.
man. I just like that scene got me. I paused. I stopped everything I was doing. I text Reese. I was like, "Can you talk? Because I got to tell you this. Because I'm telling you, Reese, like that. I haven't been that I'm aware of cheated on and like somebody has
Mhm.
come clean to me. But if it happened, don't tell me like that. Like that's not how you tell me.
You don't want to know that you let him relive the past.
I let him relive the past. I was like, ugh,
Ooh,
like, cause that's like that puts pictures in your mind, right? Like I
yeah,
think that puts
yeah,
pictures and like love and like I just because when she said that, I just thought of them like in his room and they like the Love Jones scene. You know what I mean? Like
right.
remember in Love Jones? Like that's what I thought of. Like like he was
Oh
just
man,
getting that good like it was his. Like he like his name like it was still they were still each other's. You know? And I was just don't tell me like that.
oh man,
Yeah. Tell me he beat
oh
it up and you left. Like tell me like tell me something different. Like
yeah.
yeah.
But the crazy part is,
Hmm.
I feel like that's like her mo, because she was with somebody. He ended up getting interviewed. The lady wrote an article about him, and
Hmm.
he told her the story about how he had love and lost love, and hadn't been loved since he turned into this whole company. She happened to read the article, realized he was talking about her, read the article in front of the boyfriend, then went to the bathroom, and then came back and was like, like,
Crying,
girl, right, yeah,
crying,
right.
crying.
So
Ladies, y'all need to be single if y'all in that situation. Like if there's somebody like that for you, you gotta stay single. Like maybe you have a friend, maybe you got some attention or something. But if there's somebody out there who got a hold on you like that, like you read an article where the names is changed, but you just know the situation, and you just in the bathroom bawling with your fiance, and they had a nice place, Reese.
Beyonce,
Like
yeah, yeah,
fiance had to be making
yeah,
money because they were
yeah.
in New York, and that place was nice. I was like, I might not give this up.
Oh, but at the same time, old dude is like CEO. You know what I'm saying? So I'm sure his place is equally, if not more.
True, true,
Yeah. So
true.
she knew
Yeah,
what it
she came out
was.
of the bathroom and she was just like,
Broke
she
up.
looked at him, just broke his heart, just
Yep.
broke his heart. But
Yeah.
I'm
Like,
glad
seriously.
I'm glad she broke his heart before they met up at the zoo again. I'm happy
Yeah.
about that part. Yeah.
Yeah. But
Because
yeah,
if she would
she.
have
I
took her
said,
ass to the zoo before she
dang.
broke up, I'm like, this, she gonna do it again.
Right. Right. You just like running back to your exes, huh? Look, a mess.
Yeah, man, but it was a good episode. It was a good
Yeah.
episode. It was
Yeah.
entertaining. I was listening to these other two guys on a podcast, and they were talking about cheating, and the guy was like, "I don't know that I could take somebody back,"
Yeah.
and like it would be hard for me. Like it would be hard.
Yeah.
Um, it would be hard, especially. I think it would work. Like it would be okay. Like if I knew we were having problems and things weren't like going well, and maybe we just weren't in the space. But
Yeah.
they just seemed to be so happy, and like
Yeah.
they were doing everything together. They were like living together, and they just like laughing. And then she just
Yeah.
comes home one day and drops that bomb. I'd be like, I
Right.
don't know if I can take you back. I don't know.
He like, what?
I don't know.
What's wrong? He's like, what's wrong? What's going on? Like,
Yeah, like he had no
listen,
clue that that's where the conversation was going.
yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Blindsided. He was like, I'm 2.5 seconds. He was out the house. He was gone.
Gone. Yeah.
He ain't had time for no discussion. We ain't had no conversation. Like, he grabbed his stuff.
Mhm.
He looked at her with disgust and was like, all
And
right.
slammed the door. Listen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's
His
think.
exit was flawless, I will say. And there was a couple of scenes where they like passed each other on the street and they both had
Mm-hmm.
these moments of like being wrapped up in new situations and new
Right.
dating situations and like looking
Right.
back again.
Yeah.
And that was definitely interesting. I've never been in that situation. Have you ever been in that situation? Like you like walked past. Oh, I have been in that situation, but not with somebody on my arm. I just saw my ex with somebody else. Have you ever been in that situation?
Like when I saw my ex with somebody else while I was
Yeah,
with somebody else.
yeah.
Um, I've been out with an ex. I mean, I've been
Hmm.
out with with a guy and seen an ex out with somebody. But
Okay.
it was a situation where like, ooh, I wonder if or what that would be, like yeah, I ain't never had none
Hmm.
of that. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
me, my cutoff game strong.
Wrong.
Right. So like when
Wrong.
I'm out. I mean,
Yeah.
some of my ex I am still friends with.
Hmm.
But it's just strictly like, friends. Like, sometimes you realize that you are better as friends with some people.
Hmm.
But
For sure.
yeah, I've never been in a situation where it's like, I see somebody and then like I start reminiscing about, what once was. Yeah,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah. Uh, yeah. So I was in North Carolina still, and I was in the grocery store with Jay, and so
Okay.
not unorthodox Jay, Jay,
Right,
other
I know,
Jay,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I know.
And so we were in Harris Teeter, like going around picking up stuff for something, and I came
Mhm.
around the corner, and old girl I used to live with, I ain't gonna say her name on this podcast,
Mhm.
but old girl I used to live with was with the
No.
dude that she was with the dude that she told me they were just friends and he's like her brother. Like all hand in hand, hugged up, grocery shopping together. I was like, you dirty son of a
A whole mess. A whole
Yeah. So
mess.
that's I think that's the only time I've ever run into an ex with while they
Yeah.
were with somebody else. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. How did
Hmm.
that make you
Hmm.
feel, Ian?
I mean, it made me feel validated, honestly, because one of our issues was that person. And the
Okay.
fact that the first person I saw her with was that person, you know?
Right.
And
Right.
so it just made me feel validated that the concerns I had and like the hesitation I had within our like relationship was just
Right.
like, yeah, I
Okay.
don't feel good
Yeah.
about this, you know? And that was like,
Right.
here's my validation. You know, that's just the
Right.
universe saying, you was right, keep it moving, you know? And
Right.
I literally gave her one of these and kept it moving.
A whole mess. So
Hmm.
basically, yeah, she tried to make it seem like it was nothing, but yeah, you was like, yeah,
Hmm.
I knew it all along.
It was something, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. All right. So that's episode 2.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, they get back together happily ever after. Yeah. Good
Mhm.
story. The third episode is called Take Me As I Am, Whoever I Am. And this one I thought I learned a
Yeah.
lot because I
Yeah.
didn't know where this episode was going. So,
Mhm.
backstory, Anne Hathaway is in this one. She's the main
Mhm.
character for this round. And she is bipolar and also trying to find love, um,
Yeah.
but not telling people that she is bipolar initially.
Mhm.
And
And
so,
depressant. Bipolar and depressant.
yeah. And so it was her journey
Mhm.
from her highs and her lows in trying to date.
Mhm.
So Reese, would
Right.
you think of this one?
I think this episode was hella real,
Yeah. Hmm.
Um because it affected her, like her day-to-day life. The episode begins, she wakes up and she's like on this high, she's feeling good, she done put on like sparkly clothes, like she's dressed nice. She goes out, she wanted peaches, woke up wanting peaches, goes to the
Yeah.
grocery store, has like this whole like banter with this guy. They hit it off. And like they set up a date. She goes to
Yeah.
work, it's a great day at work, and then she comes home and it's like as soon as she walks in the house, like somebody just like sucked the life out of her,
Hmm.
and she ends up laying in the bed for like 2-3 days, like just can't get up, like even though she
Yeah.
tried, like she just couldn't like get herself up. That
Hmm.
was, the depression, had her in a chokehold for sure.
Yeah.
Um, it comes time for the date. The guy calls, and she's like, "Yeah." She literally goes out in like sweats and like disheveled hair. Like she was just like,
Yeah.
she rolled out the bed and was like, "Yeah, what you want to do?" Okay, it was real. It was just real. I felt bad for her, like
Yeah.
it was
For
like she had
sure.
to force herself to, to go on this date. And he was like,
Hmm.
okay, like, who is this? Like, this not the lady from the other day. He could definitely tell it
Yeah.
was a shift in her.
Hmm.
And kudos to him for like trying, like
Yeah.
he definitely tried. I don't think she ever said what the issue was. I think she said, I'm sick or not feeling good or something.
Mm-hmm.
But she never, let him know that she was dealing with um depression and and bipolar.
Mm-hmm.
Um so then she gets to feeling better and she's like, I want to see you tonight. Like, no, it has to be tonight because she knows her highs and her lows. And she goes through the whole like day getting everything done, cooking, done clean the apartment finally. Clean the
Finally.
apartment, cooking. Like it's literally time for him to come. She's trying to put on her makeup. And again, it was just like somebody just like knocked the wind out of her. She's like, no, 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 please, 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 please. Like she's like
Yeah.
begging with herself, like, no, let's stay in this, like, stay in this. And
Mm-hmm.
she ends up like literally crying on the bathroom floor. Like she like couldn't like get it together. It was
Yeah.
sad. Like, it was really sad.
Mm-hmm. And then he comes, knocks on the door like
Mhm.
multiple times, walks off, wants to turn around, and
Yeah.
doesn't, and keeps going. She
Yeah.
then gets fired from her job like
Yeah.
the next couple of days, and then
Yeah.
she meets with her boss and finally tells her what's going
What's going
on.
on? Yeah.
And it was super real. Like it was the
Mhm.
immediacy of like from her manic to her lows. Like for her to get
Yeah.
in that depressive state, I
Yeah.
was like, I wonder if it's like this, and if it is, because I don't know, but I'm sure it
Mhm.
is because this show is pretty.
Yeah.
I think they probably would have done the research pretty accurate.
Yeah.
Um, and so I just like I couldn't even imagine like that
Mhm.
feeling taking over. Right? There are definitely
Yeah.
some days where I don't want to do anything, or I got
Mhm.
plans and I want to cancel them, but it's not
Mhm.
because I feel like I can't. It's just I don't want to. Like
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
want to is gone. Her want to
Right.
was there, but she couldn't physically move her body
Yeah.
to do the things that she needed to do to prepare herself for dates. And so
Yeah.
I thought it was just a really good portrayal. I thought it was
Mhm.
really awesome that she finally opened up to her boss
Mhm.
and finally like called some people back and told them about it. I was hoping she
Right.
would call him because I thought a
Yeah.
lot of these, like when I first was watching, I was like, okay, she's gonna call him. He's gonna understand, and
Mhm.
they're gonna get. I thought that's the path it was gonna go. Um,
Right. It
but she
didn't.
never did. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that was interesting to me that she never even tried him, or maybe she did and they just didn't mention it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I feel like I don't know. I feel like though, in that situation, like she kind of gave it like two chances. Like the first date that was planned, she went out. She wasn't in the best of mood or condition, and the second date when she just like completely stood him up, even though it wasn't her
Mhm.
intention. I feel
Yeah.
like it might have been some embarrassment that like stopped her from trying to go back to
Mhm.
rekindle again because that's what she did and she even begged him. He was like, well, what, let's do it tomorrow. She's like, no, it has to be today, it has to be today,
Yeah. Yeah.
so I think like I think in the urgency that she made it happen and the fact that
Mhm.
it was just one of those situations. I think it might have been a little bit of embarrassment and then not
Yeah.
knowing if you would have like truly understood.
Yeah. Absolutely. I can see that. But there
Yeah.
was that whole scene where she was making calls and telling other people, and
Yeah.
I just thought like he would be included in that. And that's the whole like the lack of plot twist usually. So it's like that's the most
Yeah.
typical storyline that this episode could have taken. And
Right.
the fact that it
Yeah.
didn't, I was like, okay, you got me because I thought it was going somewhere else. So I
Yeah.
did
Yeah.
appreciate that. But yeah, I thought it was a really good episode. It opened my eyes a lot around like
Mhm.
being bipolar and being depressed and the
Yeah.
immediacy of like how the highs and lows can affect you on your daily basis. I thought it was a
Yes.
really good episode for to include neurodiverse people and like
Mhm.
allow them to have some representation in that space as well because
Right.
everybody out here looking for love, you know, not just me, not just you, like everybody out here looking for
Mhm.
love. So I thought it was a really good way to educate, shed light, and also provide some representation in that space.
Yeah, I think it also allows people to see the realness of it.
Hmm.
Even though people may not say, "Hey, this is what I'm going through," it kind of shows you like, "Hey, this is what people go through when they're dealing with bipolarity or
Hmm.
being a depressant." So
Yeah.
yeah, it's it kind of if if people, watch the episode, that say, okay, it kind of gives you the space to have a little grace for somebody,
Yeah, for sure.
that is going through, because I mean it is a true depiction of like how it happens. So
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. I think uh, even if you know somebody who is depressed
Hmm.
or bipolar, you're able to
Hmm.
say, "Oh, I can give this person more grace because I understand more," And I think
Right.
even for me,
Right.
it provided that context, and so it's just like, "Oh man, like that's a lot to go through
Yeah.
for the things that I take for granted on a regular basis, right? Like getting up and
Right.
going to work or
Right.
cleaning my house. Like she
Yeah.
cleaned her house on a high and then
Yeah.
stayed in the bathroom on a low. It's just like
Yeah. Yeah.
it's it's crazy. But I'm glad they had that representation. I'm glad
Hmm.
the episode. I'm glad they showed like her calling people and letting them know. And
Yeah.
so the backstory also during this entire season that you're, or this entire episode that you're watching, is really her filling out an online dating profile, and so she's telling the story and narrating in the background as well.
Hmm.
And so she's like telling the story of how she like called people and how people reacted, and it wasn't how she expected them to react,
Hmm.
and how people gave her a lot of grace and space to and forgiveness to like be who she was, And so I thought that was
Yeah.
really good as well, because hopefully that empowers somebody who's experiencing those things to tell more people so they can receive that grace and that acceptance. So I
Hmm.
really appreciated that part as well.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
agree.
No.
Mhm.
All right. See, I mean, episode four. Episode four. I think Reese and I, this is one of our least favorite episodes.
Yeah.
Um, but essentially, the plot is a couple. One is an actor. The husband is an actor. The wife, I'm not really sure. Is the wife just a stay at home mom, or does she have a job?
I don't know. I think she stay at
Yeah,
home.
yeah.
Either way, it didn't hold me.
She's a stay at home mom. They're having problems in their relationship. They go to therapy, have all
Hmm.
these discussions. Like, basically, romance is gone. Neither one of them
Yeah.
are trying to
Yeah.
date the other one and
Yeah.
romance the other one and keep the other one. They're just kind of like going through the motions. And you can
Yeah.
tell, like, she's very resentful of him, and he
Hmm.
seems like he could care less. Like that's
Yeah.
what.
Yeah. And I think what
So,
sparked it, they had like date night, which they went to go see a movie, which was a documentary about penguins. First off, like, yeah, I'm already ready to go. But in the documentary, it shows how like penguins couple up, and then once the kid
Mhm,
is born, they split ways. They never see each other again. Like that, like when they actually have their kid, the baby penguin is
mhm,
born. Then the mama penguin and papa penguin, like, no more communication. Like they both go their separate ways on the different journeys that penguins take every year. Um,
mhm.
and she was saying like, "Is that us?" Like she got really emotional and left the movie. It was like, outside, like, "Is that us?" Like, will that be us when our kids leave? Because they have two children. So she was saying like, is our children the only thing that's holding us together?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
they go to
But hold on, hold
therapy.
on.
Okay.
I think so. Penguins mate for life, though. I think that's the thing. But they don't have a lot of like after the child is born, they're not like as together as they were before. But they mate for life still.
But it said it was like this would be the last time that they see each other in the movie. When they was watching the movie, they were saying this would be
Okay,
the last time that they see each other.
okay.
That's what the movie said, and that's why
All
she was
right,
like,
all right.
is that gonna happen? Like, is that gonna happen? Is that gonna happen to us?"
Mm-hmm,
Now, if they didn't put true depictions of what penguins do in the episode, that's on them. But what they had said was, but yeah, he said that this would be the last time that they see each other as they the penguins started
mm-hmm.
walking away. Um, yeah, because I don't think they were saying it's the last time they would see the kid. But because like that's how she put the correlation. Like, would that happen to them? Once the kid's gone, then
Mm-hmm.
they're done. So that's
Mm-hmm.
how they put the correlation together.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't recall specifically, so I can't
Okay.
say anything in that moment. But yeah, but yeah, that part, and then they went to therapy, and like the therapist was asking like, do y'all go on date night? Like, and they go to the movies like during the day or some shit. Like
No,
it was
they
like
no they
it was the
date
least
night.
romantic.
Date night was after therapy. Like there's like, yeah, after therapy we go get a movie. That's date
We go
night.
get a movie, yeah. But that's what I'm saying. It's during the daytime. Like, they get a matinee after therapy, like.
That's a mess. So if you had a
Yeah,
bad therapy session, then you just go sit in the theater with what? Like, yeah,
yeah. Like
bless
I
their
was
heart.
just, yeah. I was, and it didn't seem
Yeah,
like either one of them, had the capacity to communicate in a way that was helpful. Because I feel
yeah,
like she was super combative. He was.
hmm
There was a lack of understanding on his part, like where all the
hmm
negative energy was coming from, and neither one of them were really discussing the problem. Like
right,
it
right.
just seemed like they were both avoiding it. Like
Yeah,
they
yeah,
seem to like each other and they seem to want to like stay together, but
yeah,
yeah, it was odd. It was odd because I was like, how did y'all make it this far? Y'all got a whole teenager. Like, what were y'all doing for the last 10 or 15 years? But I guess going to therapy and then going to damn movies after therapy.
but then he also was gone a lot because he was always on set somewhere.
Yeah,
So she
that's true.
was like, you get the cushy life. Like, somebody brings you your lunch and your dinner, and somebody, brings you your clothes and da da da.
Hmm.
Like you don't have to do anything. And then she's like, I'm home and I'm doing X, Y, and Z. And then he would say, like, are you keeping tally? Like what I do? Because when he comes home, she has a list of things for him to do because she's trying to like even the score. Like,
Yeah,
ma'am, did you not
yeah,
know who you were marrying? I'm confused. Yeah, I'm
exactly.
confused.
And the other thing is too, like he was doing it. Like he was doing the
Yeah,
list of things that
yeah,
like all the things that she wanted him to do, and
mm,
he was also like, I don't know, he clearly had a job where she didn't have to work. And not saying that
right,
like there shouldn't be more, but
right.
it just seemed she just seemed very like jealous of like his life and what he was
Yeah,
doing, and didn't really
yeah,
communicate like, hey, I want to go on trips. I want to go on set
right,
sometimes. You know what I mean? Like
right,
I want to go to a
right,
Hollywood party.
right.
She expected him to just know that that's what she wanted him to do. And
Yeah,
yeah, ladies, if you out there expecting a man to know what you want to do, like you gonna be disappointed because we dummies, like we stupid, like it's not our fault. Like we have different needs and different desires, and so we don't think past ourselves sometimes, and like it's hard because
yeah,
it's hard. Yeah. So just tell us and we make that shit
yeah.
happen. Yeah, like
But I think part of that though is because like men like to be solvers, and sometimes we don't want you to solve the issue. We just want you to hear us, and
Mhm.
I think that's where the breakdown comes in. So the communication isn't there to say, "Hey, I want to solve your problems, and I don't need you to solve it. I need you to hear me first and understand it." And I think that's
Yeah.
where the difference comes in. We are as women, we base things off of emotion and feeling, and as men, you all base things off of like solving and answering. Like I don't care how you
Yeah.
feel about it. Oh, you broke your toe. All right, let's get a stent for it or whatever. Your arm is broke. Let's put it in the cast.
Yeah.
Like there is no compassion about. Oh no, what happened? How'd you break your arm? Yeah, I don't care. Put the cast on. Let's go. And I think that's where they were. Like she wanted to be able to like express her frustrations, but she didn't know how to effectively do that. Instead, she was like, nitpicking and like keeping scores and like making it seem like he wasn't active in doing what he was, what she was asking
Yeah.
of him.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I think it's both too, because she never said that she wanted to. Because even he's like, I didn't know you wanted to go to the parties. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
Right.
it's just like
Yeah.
if you wanted to go, like we could have went, but I didn't even know
Say
you
so.
wanted to
Right.
go. And
Yeah.
so
Say
I
so.
think there was that, and also the compassion point, right? Like there wasn't like, hey, like thank you for holding down the fort while I was on set for 6 months or three
Right.
months or however long he was gone. So I
Right.
definitely get that piece. But again, that's something that like if I don't know you
Okay.
need it, then
Right.
I don't know to give it to you. Like if I come home and from being gone for 6 to 8 weeks and I'm like hugging you and kissing you, and then I also do this list of things that you asked me to do, I'm
Yeah.
thinking I'm providing the thing that you need because this is the list that you gave me.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's what you
yeah.
said for me to do, and I did it.
And I
Okay.
did it.
Yeah. Yeah, this episode, I didn't really like this episode. It was dumb.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It wasn't. It
I had
wasn't
to
great.
watch it like I had to watch it like 3 or 4 times because it did not hold me at all. Like I did not pay attention. Like I was like, okay, let me go back. Dang, I had to be able to talk about it. Let me go back. I didn't even
Yeah.
realize they stayed together. Like I was like, oh yeah, they broke up, right?
Yeah.
Like no, they stayed together. Oh, okay, yeah,
Yeah, it was like two grown like kids in a relationship,
yeah,
essentially. You know what I mean? Like they just seem very
yeah,
mature. And essentially, what brought them back together is playing tennis, which is
yeah.
odd because when the therapist initially recommended it, like it didn't go over well the first couple of times because he was like,
Right,
he wanted to have fun with it and like change up the rules and
right.
stuff like that. And she was like, "No, you're gonna play it
No,
the way it's meant to be played." And I was like, "This
right.
woman would get on my
Yeah,
damn nerves. Like she is not fun at all."
yeah. He was like, it is fun when you play by the rules. That's how you have to. You play by the rules. It's fun.
Yeah,
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. So that was it was an okay episode, but
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Uh, but yeah, I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna have a part two, and we'll talk
Okay.
about the next 4 episodes
Yeah.
to finish off the season. And if you like this kind of content from us, please let us know. We'll put some comments down, so or tell us about a show that you're watching that we can watch and talk about it on
Together.
Discourse and Chill
Yeah.
together. Yeah, we'll definitely watch it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the first part of Modern Love is worth a watch. I think it's informative nonetheless. It has
Mhm.
good perspective. The plot
Yes.
is decent. Uh, the dialogue is good. I will say, even though
Mhm.
there are some like storylines that like I'm just like I can't like fully get into it. Like at the end of the
Yeah.
day, it's still solid. You know, it's still solid. Like you said, a
Right.
B plus, a B plus.
Right. Yeah, and if you
Mm-hmm.
watch it, I promise, get past episode 4. You might have to be
Yeah.
like me and watch it 3 or 4 times, but get past episode 4. 1 through 3 are pretty good. Like 1 through 3 are pretty good. 4,
Yeah.
it ain't gonna hold you. It ain't gonna hold you. But then it picks back up. It picks up. There are some very interesting episodes past episode 4 for sure. So yeah,
Yeah.
if you decide to watch it, be all in, get past episode 4, and maybe you might be moved by episode 4. It just didn't do anything for me. I was like, yeah, this ain't it. I can't.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think I was on the phone at one point in time. Like I might have been like washing clothes, like cleaning up. Like I was not in the room. And I said, oh dang, I got to watch. Let me start this over. Yeah, it just didn't work.
I hear that. I hear that. But as a whole, it's a great season. We will talk
Mhm.
about episodes 5 through 8
Yes.
later on in season 4. We got some
Mhm.
really good content for you all. I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna have a longer season this year. I mean, this season. So be on the lookout for more than 10 episodes. We got some
Yeah.
really good content, and we're just excited to have these conversations. But with all that being said, Reese, you want to take us to the outro?
Absolutely. Make sure you all are being gentle with yourselves. Be gentle with you first, and then be gentle with others as well. You have to allow yourself some space and some grace, especially with us talking about episode 3, where the young lady was bipolar and a depressant. You never know what people are going through. So, show a little grace, have a little patience with people, have a little patience with yourself. I know I get frustrated with me a lot. I have to say, all right, Sharice, what are you doing? Like, we doing the best we can. So know that you are only responsible for today. All other days will take care of themselves as they come. Again, just be gentle, show a little grace, give a little space for some mercy, and love on somebody, even if that somebody is you.
All right, y'all. Well, I couldn't say it any better, so I'm just gonna say we out here, and we'll see you next time on Discourse and Chill.